Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Coffee and Wrestling, a wrestling podcast. I am one half of your tag team championship hosts, Mark, here with my lovely wife and fellow tag team partner,
Jamie.
I was hoping you would say that.
Yes.
Not that I was hoping
tag
you'd say
team
your
partner
name.
in life and tag team partner in the podcast as well.
I thought you were going to say something a little bit dirtier, but let's move on. We're already getting
Not that
sidetracked.
type of podcast.
We're kind of doing a two-part podcast. This is what?
I think we're maybe 20 minutes post
after
Night
of Champions. We just finished the main event, which of course was Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. I said that like a Polish man.
That'd be Sami
against
Zayn,
the bloodline
Kevin Owens.
of Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. So we just wanted to get our honest reactions. Plus, we've got Double or Nothing is tomorrow with AEW.
Yeah,
so
and this is fresh in our minds, so why not get our genuine reaction?
Yeah, it's going to be a busy podcast with two pay-per-views back-to-back.
Yeah.
So we wanted to just jump on it right away and get our initial reactions with everything. How you doing tonight, Jamie?
I'm doing good.
What did you think of the pay-per-view as an overall? Before we go, we're going to break down each match, kind of.
Sure.
Kind of give our opinion on each one of them, especially since there was only 7, which seems like it's the average number of WWE's
when it comes to
events.
AEW, AEW likes to do 10, 12, 13 matches and go all night long. Night of Champions was short and sweet, and it was in the afternoon, which was incredible to just be able to get it kind of out of the way.
I really enjoyed a 1 o'clock pay-per-view. At first, I was like, man, it's going to be kind of a nuisance, but 1 o'clock rolled around. I felt like
we're in Florida, so we're in Eastern time. We got it at 1, so it worked out really well for us.
So it's like the perfect time. We got an afternoon worth of wrestling.
Yeah, afternoon of champions.
I don't feel like I'm super tired. Like I had to stay up late to finish out a pay-per-view, which I feel like with AEW we do that a lot because it's usually about 4.5 hours for an AEW pay-per-view.
Yeah, we got about 3 here.
If I'm complaining in 2023 that I have too much wrestling to watch,
no, it's not a bad thing, but it can be very tiresome.
But honestly, this was one of the best well-timed pay-per-views. I don't know if it's the best pay-per-view, but the timing was wonderful.
How did I feel about it? I don't probably just from that reaction you can tell.
Gave it a 3.5.
It's tough. It's tough because we're coming off of the last pay-per-view, which was Backlash. So we had WrestleMania and then we had Backlash. WrestleMania was pretty decent. Backlash was incredible. I was an absolutely huge fan of Backlash. I had 2 weeks after Backlash that I was just hot.
I brought this up back then. You weren't a fan of Backlash initially.
I wasn't excited it was starting. I wasn't ready for the matches. The matches came. Everybody came. Puerto Rico showed up.
Yep.
Bad Bunny showed up. Everybody showed up in Backlash. And I don't know. I think it fell a little bit short for me. But we came up with an overall of 3.5 coffee cups. And
I felt the same way. I felt like that the matches that had a lot of hype on them didn't feel as important.
Agreed.
And then I feel like a couple of them that didn't have a lot of hype on them ended up being probably the most standoutish matches of the night.
Yeah, agreed.
Or the afternoon, I suppose.
Yeah.
It wasn't, the pay-per-view overall wasn't like, I didn't leave going, wow, I can't believe all that happened. Like there was like 1 or 2 things that happened, but it was
pretty predictable.
It was
I think
a handful of moments.
Yeah, it wasn't the best wrestling.
I don't know.
It wasn't the best wrestling pay-per-view or premium live event.
Right.
It was, like you said, it was
definitely story
driven. So let's get right into it. And just like WWE did, they started off with our tournament finale for the inaugural World Heavyweight Championship, which I believe no one has held since Randy Orton.
Right.
It's been a long time. So we got Seth freaking Rollins and AJ Styles. And I think for the last couple of days, we've gone back and forth, especially with the rumors that Seth Rollins is in this new Captain America movie. Well,
it's not rumors. It's official. He is in a new Captain America
they showed clips of it and everything. But with him being in the movie, that he wouldn't have time to be the champion.
Yeah, WWE was fearful
win.
that if they gave him the belt and if his schedule conflicted with his movie schedule, he might have some reservations about doing one or the other, which is detrimental for him no matter what. So, I mean...
It was interesting to see what they were going to do because you have Seth, who, of course, is Monday Night Rollins. He's Raw all the way. And then you have...
Red hot on fire.
Red hot. Has been running Raw for years now.
AJ Styles is a little bit cooler off right now because he's been off TV for a while. Just recently came back. But what a way to come back. He was in the... heavyweight title picture.
It would have been confusing because we're still in this weird circumstance of people fighting for belts on the opposite next show.
You're
so you've
referencing
got
the women's
AJ Styles. Well, this too. AJ Styles is on SmackDown.
Right. So
if he wins the Raw
sense.
Championship, not only should he have gone to Raw, but then technically shouldn't all of the OC be drafted to Raw too? So there's a lot of questions.
Unfortunately, that didn't have to be
It didn't happen. And honestly, I'm going to probably get a lot of crap for this. I really didn't enjoy the match a whole lot.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little bit slow personally. I'm sure it's a long flight. I'm sure they're tired.
Well,
I think like it.
Taking into consideration that Seth the rumor is he was supposed to be rushed immediately after the match to get on a plane to come back home for the filming.
Right.
Plus, on top of, number one, not wanting to hurt Seth right before he's got to go do something like that.
Of course.
And number two, AJ Styles coming back from an injury. Granted, he's wrestled, 2 matches since he's been back, and he's looked great. But at the same time, he's probably not at 100%. But I brought this up during the match. I think a lot of this, obviously, Seth Rollins was planning to be the champion well before Saudi Arabia was, possibly a thing. Or if it was just planned that way. But we both know Seth Rollins is going to bring the money. He sells tickets. And so does AJ Styles. He's huge in WWE now. He has now become a staple, future Hall of Famer. I can say
Absolutely.
that with confidence. And I think that it was just a matter of two men that weren't trying to go 100% because of the conditions that they were in. They wanted to
possibly
deliver
so.
it. They had an opening spot, so they didn't have to go as hard as they did. They needed to. Unfortunately,
It was half energy.
It reflected in the match. I think the result was exactly what everybody thought. I really didn't think anybody thought that AJ was going to win in a storyline sense.
Yeah,
But unlike you, I was deep down in my heart, I was like, man, AJ's been out of the picture for a minute. I would actually like to see him with some gold around his waist. But it makes sense. Seth Rollins getting the win.
Yeah.
All right, up next we had Kris Statlander taking on Becky Lynch in just a singles match. I was reading it like it had some extra little thing on it, but it was just
a revenge match, really.
A WWE legend taking on one of WWE's current top women in their roster. The match itself was, honestly, it was rough. The hype for this for me was not there. Once they got in the ring, I wasn't a big fan of, the actual back and forth between the two of them. It felt
the pace again was very slow.
It felt very slow. Now you've also got Kris Statlander. She's not exactly the spry chicken she used to be. So of course you kind of have to take that into consideration. But it just overall this match just really felt cumbersome. It felt like both women were having a difficult time dealing with the other one. Physicality and athleticism sense.
Yeah, and I couldn't understand what the reason was for this. Where are they going with this? Why are these two fighting in such a big capacity all of a sudden? But eventually it made sense, and I really did pop hard for the ending.
I really think the ending completely shadows the entire match.
It did.
I feel like that's a running theme with this pay-per-view or premium live event.
Yeah, they wrapped it up really well.
Yeah, it was... I couldn't see how Becky Lynch wasn't going to get this win. There, nothing in my mind made sense as to at least what we had as to why Becky Lynch would lose. She's younger than her. She's more athletic than her. She's been doing this over as hell. And it's just a perfect vengeance story. And I'm not gonna lie. I got up on my feet when this happened. Becky Lynch gets thrown out of the ring, or Trish Stratus gets thrown. They're both out of the ring, and Becky tosses Trish back in. And right before Becky gets in, Zoe Stark runs out from underneath the ring. That means she's been under the ring since the beginning of the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And attacks Becky while the ref's got his back turned, and hits her with her finisher. It's like a Z360. It's something similar to that, and just throws her back in the ring. Trish Stratus takes advantage of it like the heel that she is, and man, I popped hard for this.
I loved it. It was so
blown
unexpected.
Away. Especially as somebody who just came up from NXT.
Mm-hmm.
They're
doing great with Zoe Stark. They're doing great with Cameron Grimes. I think they're making them look good.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to take these NXT people and they need to make them a serious, a group of people to be worried about in the main roster, so people take them seriously. You can't bring them in and have them do nothing.
Right.
I think they've done a really good job with Zoe, because me personally, I just want to see more of what she's going to do.
Now, she did retreat after the match up the ramp with Trish Stratus. Do you think that this is going to be a kind of a little bit mini faction for the next couple of weeks? Do you think Trish is done with her run right now?
To me, maybe it seems like they're using her star power to help Zoe get over.
Okay.
That they're going to use Trish to be
use
the
her
mouth
until the next stepping stone where Trish gets taken out.
Exactly. I don't know how good Zoe is on the mic, but maybe to use it for Trish's mic skills. She's over. People like to see Trish,
right.
And then you can build up Zoe and maybe have them feud against each other.
Well, I think Becky and Zoe are there. This is the beginning of a huge rivalry between them.
I'm more than okay with that.
That's going to be awesome. You got Trish Stratus kind of mentoring her against one of the top female talents in WWE, one of the most decorated in WWE right now. I think it's great. I think this is going to be a great little run for Zoe.
Following that match ended up being what I was looking forward to most before the pay-per-view and during this match was my favorite. Gunther took on Mustafa Ali for the WWE Intercontinental Championship.
It was the second shortest match of the night, only beating the match between Rhea and Natalya. But honest to God, this was the one single match from the beginning to the absolute end. I was glued to the TV watching it.
That was a wrestling match. The rest was storytelling. 100%. This was a wrestling match.
This was just two men fighting each other for a big shiny belt.
They gave it the best that they could. Gunther even had a gnarly, couple chops to him that really left a huge red welt.
I mean,
his chest.
They really gave Gunther like a chance. Like they really you and I were both like, oh my God, this is it. Like he's really gonna get this.
Ali or Gunther? You said Gunther.
Did I say Gunther? I meant Ali.
Yeah, it really felt like Ali could have actually won this.
They gave him that great vignette about him visiting the
Mecca, which was so cool,
and getting honored by the country and all this other stuff, and being he said he's for the first time he never felt like an outcast everywhere he went. They gave him like this giant. I mean, just his entrance. The entrances in this premium live event were bar none the best.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Outdoes WrestleMania. Outdoes any other pay-per-view. Like the sheer scale of the backdrop when these guys came out were phenomenal.
Agreed.
But they really gave Ali a great platform, and really, I really thought that he was going to take it home. Even right up to the last, I think Gunther hit him with two moves at the end. Right up to when he hit those two moves, and even right until he hit three, I was that glimmer of hope. Yeah. And I think that's what WWE was trying to do. If they weren't going to give him the belt, they made you believe in this man.
Exactly. So now he can come home. He can go back to he's Raw and SmackDown. Mustafa Ali's on both teams.
Right.
But he can go back to whatever show he wants to next week. And have that behind him that no, he didn't win, but he also just got to go to the Mecca, so he can come back more inspired and feeling good about it. And
positive Ali.
Yeah, well, I think he's kind of dropping that because he seemed a lot more serious.
Yeah.
He did cut his entire promo that he was supposed to cut from Raw this week. On
Brock Lesnar
Twitter,
just told him to get a life.
Get a life, kid. So he cut the whole promo in his car after the show, which was really interesting. And he was like, I'm not doing this positive Ali thing anymore. He basically was like, if I don't win, then my dream's over. So it's interesting to see what they're going to do for him when he gets back. But no, he didn't win. But I feel like him as a person, he won the time of his life. I was really rooting for him. The crowd, of course, was really rooting for him. So,
but yeah, by far match of the night. 100%.
Oh, yeah. Wrestling-wise, this was a match. For sure. Now, the women, as far as Bianca and Asuka, were up next. And let me tell you what, that was also a really great wrestling match. There's a lot of storytelling in this one, too. And I'm going to let Mark describe a little bit about what you were saying as far as Bianca's character kind of unraveling.
So I've been noticing for the last couple of weeks, months, each paper or premium live event, whenever Bianca's in the ring and she's wrestling, her ponytail has become, over time, more and more unraveled. There's pieces hanging off of it. And at first, I had mentioned something a couple months ago to Jamie about it, and she said, well, I think that's just the kind of the style she's going with.
Well, in Shinfo, I used to be a hairdresser.
Right, yeah.
So we talk a lot about the women of wrestling's hair.
So I kind of said, okay, whatever. And then the next one came along, and it was a little bit worse. I was like, okay, maybe she's, not worse, but it's a little bit more untangled. And I'm like, okay, maybe she's just going for that same look and it's just a little bit more exaggerated. And then this time she came out, I don't know if it was exactly this way when she first came out, but as she started to wrestle, her hair was just in shambles. Like it really looked like it was just in such disarray, like she has not been able to repair the damage that's been done to it. And I'm wondering if this is supposed to be a keynote, and I think I'm right, that her championship is slowly becoming harder and harder to defend. It's harder and harder for her to keep it together.
Exactly,
because
yeah.
It's more and more challenging.
Right.
And
she's been so positive always.
Right. And I think this is going to be a character trait from moving forward. Is I think her hair is a representation of her I get the best way I can put it in like a video game sense is it's her health, it's her HP. Her HP is getting really low, so she's looking frazzled. If you ever played Doom, you get down to 10 hit points, your dude is bleeding from every orifice in his body,
his eyes all like crusted over,
Yeah, and I feel like this is what it is she's defended this for so long. She's been running so hard. She's being the EST of the WWE all the time that she just couldn't keep up. Her body couldn't keep up with the physical demands of the championship, and it's finally given out because of Sasuke.
And it did.
Asuka ends up getting the win. You know,
and unfortunately, the crowd was literally sleeping the entire time. So I don't think the match got its justice because it's just like a concert. If the crowd's not into it, how can you be? You know,
but if you forget the crowd, if you're able to block the crowd out, watch this match. It's got a lot of really intricate storytelling between what I just described to the way that Asuka uses the mist to secure the win.
I loved that.
It was really. It was really well told.
Orchestrated, yeah. There was spots where like Bianca would get so overwhelmed that she would start to almost like push the rules and bend the rules a little bit, which is so not her.
And I think that's akin to what I was just saying about her hair. She's getting so desperate to keep everything together. Anything she can, she'll do. Right.
She put Asuka up in the corner and, you know, typical ref, you got till 5. She's getting to like 4.5 and the ref, I believe her name's Jessica, got in between the two of them, and that's when Asuka tried to do the mist.
Right.
So it was like Bianca screwed herself over because she was not thinking clearly and acting a little bit weird and being really frazzled. And the rumors
like
are,
she's tired.
Yeah, the rumors are that, you know, there's a possible heel turn for Bianca and the Street Profits coming up, which would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Well, either way, we are in the era of Asuka as the
I'm
WWE Raw Women's Championship, whether she's on SmackDown or not, I don't care. I love it. Asuka has deserved this title. I'm so happy that she has on it. She
looked great.
This new, I guess not new, but this revamped Kana persona that she's been using with the makeup. We saw, by the way, if you haven't seen it, look up, there's a video of her putting her makeup on. She does her own makeup, and it's phenomenal the way she does it.
It's on Twitter, and if you don't follow us on Twitter, make sure you do. We're at CAW Wrestling Pod.
Love the plugs.
Thanks.
But honest to God, this was the best women's match of the night. One of the best, right behind Gunther and Ali, but
it didn't get the credit it deserved, unfortunately,
but it was.
It was fantastic. Good storyline. I think there's a lot with this moving forward as well. We went right from that match into Rhea Ripley versus Natalya.
This segment is going to be longer than the match.
Let me just say, mommy looking on fire.
Ooh,
looking like,
okay.
I don't know, Catwoman in that like top that she was wearing.
Number one, I am not an individual that usually tries objectifying, especially wrestlers, because half of these women could beat the shit out of me very easily, and there's nothing I could do
and you should never objectify women like that either.
Of course not. And I respect my wonderful, beautiful wife. I never look at another woman when my wife is anywhere near me.
If he's oogling, usually I'm oogling too.
And that's the thing. I always give her the respect because I just, a beautiful person's a beautiful person. I don't give a shit who you are. If you are a woman, a man, an in between, whatever. If you're a beautiful person, there's Joe Manganiello. Man, I would sleep with Joe Manganiello. I'm a straight 36-year-old white male, and I would sleep with Joe Manganiello because man, I would.
Mark and I like to have pretend fights about who we would pick between Joe Manganiello and Sofia Vergara because they are just the most beautiful people in the world.
I don't know who's going to sleep with who, but one of us is going to win.
We're all going to win in that situation, but wow, Rhea Ripley.
She hit
phenomenal.
She hit all the marks. It's so good. So good.
She looked great, and poor Natalya had to go all the way to Saudi Arabia on her birthday to get whooped.
Happy birthday, Natalya.
You shared 69 seconds.
She shares a birthday with our dog.
Oh, Duke, hey.
Happy birthday, Duke. Yay. But yeah, Natalya gets squashed in 69 seconds.
Yep, 69 seconds.
Nice.
I looked down and I looked back up and she had lost.
Yeah, it was. I went to look at Twitter for a moment and I heard the 1, 2, 3.
I liked it.
It was. I mean, it was good. It was a lot for. I don't want to call it a squash match, but that's really what it was.
Sure,
it was a squash
that's what
match.
It is.
But it made Rhea look awfully good, both physically and wrestlingly.
Of course.
Which is funny.
Strong, dominant champion.
It's funny that this match was 1 minute and 9 seconds, and it was one of the better matches.
The storytelling, it was good.
And Dom was there.
So, I mean, I loved it.
So, moving right along here, we had the rematch between Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes.
I mean, Brock
Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes suffering damn him and his arm injuries. He has a broken arm suffered by, at first, Brock Lesnar crushing it with a keg against a garage door. And then I believe later that night, putting him in the same Kimura lock that he broke Triple H's arm a few years ago.
So reminiscent.
Cody Rhodes was then fitted with a titanium.
They really drove that one home, didn't they?
It was, what were they calling it? Like an ego brace or
an
exo brace. I looked this up. Okay. Now, was it 2 weeks ago, maybe last week, we said that Jamie had fallen and broken her wrist.
Oh no, it's been over 3 weeks now. But
she had fallen and broken her wrist. Finally, ended up getting to the doctor and figure out what we need to do. Figured that she's going to be in a cast. She ended up coming home with this thermoplastic, like black padded cast that's removable with a little dial on the side.
Yeah,
that you can adjust the tightness.
Everybody's mom had a new wave oven back in like the 80s where it was just like the little plastic container you put over stuff, and it was like the newest big thing. So I went to this like fancy bone doctor, and they were like, yeah, we'll give you a
charge
cast.
Her health insurance an umpteen amount of
they're like, we can give you this cast. So they measure my wrist and they fit me for this cast, and they put the cast in the new wave oven, and it's really warm, and they put it on you and they mold it, and it's like,
and
it's like a pliable plastic.
Breakdown, it's called a thermoplastic. What happens is it's a plastic that once it hits a certain temperature, it gets warm enough, it becomes pliable and movable. So you put it in a position, and once it cools down, and when it cools in that position, everything solidifies.
Yeah, so it's hard.
So you're able to, it's
solid.
Yeah.
If I hit something, I really can't feel anything under it.
It's made of plastic, but if you heat it up, it's
pretty
bendable.
solid. So when Cody Rhodes comes out, they make this big deal. He's wearing this like exo cast that's made of titanium.
And
no joke.
We're laughing the entire time because I made the joke. Like, what if he comes out and he's got the same brace you have, and we're laughing, we're giggling.
Legit came out in the exact brace I'm wearing.
You can even, if you go on our Twitter at CAW Wrestling Pod, I don't know, it's in there somewhere. I retweeted a picture literally as the match is happening. They haven't even rung the bell yet. Cody is still prancing around with his exothermal, titanium, which
exoskeleton.
They announced that he could use it as a weapon. How is that fair?
Yes.
And I take a picture of Jamie's arm. I find a still of his arm. It is not the same company, but it's the exact same concept. And you can look up the exact one that he has. It's $149.99 on Amazon.
That's great.
There's no titanium in this thing. I love the WWE. Steel steps.
Yep.
We have steel ladders that are bending like
we're
fiberglass.
Letting him fight with a broken arm. Like, no doctor is going to let that happen.
But they let him fight.
Remember what happened to Shotzi?
They let him fight with a rip pec.
Because he couldn't hurt himself anymore. That was legit.
That's the stupidest shit in the world. Well, I broke my leg, but I can't break it anymore, so let me walk on it.
I mean, I can genuinely understand the idea behind that one, but a broken arm?
There's no rules in wrestling.
How did he pull off a crossroads with a broken arm?
There's no rules in wrestling. How was he using it as a weapon? If he had a broken arm, it would be so painful.
You can't lift it.
You couldn't hold a cup of coffee.
It was ridiculous. Yeah, I couldn't hold a cup of coffee. I couldn't hold a cup of coffee. And this man's fighting Brock Lesnar. It was ridiculous. It was hard to follow along. If I'm being 100% honest, this was not because it was the particular match. I was hungry and made egg salad. And apparently I missed a 9-minute and 40-second match where Brock Lesnar won.
Yeah, you were gone for about 9 minutes and 30 seconds of it making egg salad.
I was going quick, too. So, the only thing I can see here, and I picked Brock to win.
I just don't know why we did this.
Cody's got one. Brock's got one. It's you gotta finish it. You gotta have one more match.
Match rule.
Of course. Come on. Remember what company we're watching.
Ridiculous.
We gotta have one more huge match. Cody Rhodes comes back from a broken arm, and he hurt his pec last year.
I just don't know why we needed to have the broken arm.
I didn't like that at all. It was just too much. It was too unbelievable for any adult to think. And the only thing I can think, and I saw somebody say this on Twitter, was that they were trying to make it out like he's a superhero and that he's, to the kids, it's somebody to look up to. They're trying to sell T-shirts. Let's be real here. They're a T-shirt selling company. I was just trying to sell that home, and he didn't win. Yeah. That was the worst part. If you're going to make him out to be the superhero, have him win.
Michael Cole definitely sold the point as soon as the bell rang. He definitely sold the point that Cody passed out. He did not tap out.
Correct.
So I guarantee that's
which is always the lamest way to have somebody you're trying to put over.
But like you said, you have to kind of look at these storylines like you're a child. And that's not like a dig. I really mean that. You need to look at some of these storylines because you're trying to pander to an audience of 18 to 40. And that 18 to 25 is the ones that are really going to want this stuff, that are going to develop even before 18, that are going to develop a relationship with these wrestlers.
Yeah.
You're rooting for them, and you're lifelong. They're trying to make lifelong fans.
Well, and Roman can't fight
superstars
for 3,000 days as a champion. You know, like he's got to take some time off.
Right.
There's a reason why they put Seth in the opposite position. And when Seth won, he said, "I'll be there Monday and every Monday from here on out.
Right.
I'm a fighting champion." You know, there's a reason for all this, but it was just hard to digest. I really didn't like it.
I really, at the end of this match, I watched the entire thing, and I mean, it was. They did what they did. They, F5s, and Cody kicked out of it, and crossroads, and all the other things.
I couldn't get a crossroads because my arm's broken.
So, I mean, it just didn't do it for me. It was not a bad match, but it wasn't for me.
No. And for the apparently third main event, the last but not least
how was
of the matches,
first match of the night? I guess one of the middle matches. I don't even know what the other one was. And then the final match, all the main event. The main event's supposed to be the final match of the night, the most coveted one, the highest profile, the biggest hype. Like, how is there three?
They were really trying to hype up like Seth Rollins and AJ being this huge match. You can't just say
you have three fucking main events. I mean, that means I'm gonna go put on a wrestling promotion. Every single match is gonna be the main event.
You technically
it's gonna
could.
Be a 7-match main event with only 7 matches.
Technically, you could. It sounds like some Tony Khan shit, but Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn took on Roman Reigns
main
and
event
Solo
mania.
Sikoa. I loved here that as soon as everybody got into the ring and the announcer, I think his name's Kevin, was trying to announce everything, the wise man, Paul Heyman, who got a huge pop, took the mic and did a huge introduction for...
I love Paul Heyman's expressions, by the way.
Yeah, he sells it. He is like Academy Award winner Paul Heyman.
Oh, yeah.
He introduced Solo Sikoa, or just Solo in his mind, Solo and Roman Reigns, gave the mic back to the announcer. Sami Zayn grabbed it from him, and apparently said some awesome stuff. I'm sorry, I didn't understand it.
I don't even know the language, but he was...
Yep, you could tell like the people were really feeling it. And
if real quick, interject, same thing with Ali. Sammy is of the faith in the country.
Yep, he got to
and
go to Mecca as well.
Did all of the things that that people in that culture sometimes spend years upon years of saving their entire life and family savings to go visit these places. And just got to throw it out there. Congratulations to Sammy and of course Ali as well. But to have not only their professional career come to such a high point, but it actually was able to deliver them to the promised land. Like it's
legitimate
to them. Like I said, it's a dream for some people of that religion.
There
to
are
go
Muslims
there.
that save for their entire life and never get the chance to go and see that. So
100%
what a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's great to see that something you love for so much as pro wrestling to be able to deliver you to that, to give you the opportunity to go see that. So
Saudi
just
Arabia,
had to interject in there.
No, Saudi Arabia gave Sami Zayn the absolute
Oh my God, the pop.
Biggest amount. I mean, he just got that pop in Montreal. Now here he is again, getting it all over again. They absolutely loved him.
Insane.
He had a great introduction, announced him and Kevin Owens.
Came out with a traditional Muslim garb.
Yeah, he looked
with
great.
With the belts on top. I mean, I don't know if
it was awesome.
It was good. It was really good.
It was really cool. So they had exactly, I mean, come on, you know exactly what happened in this match. If you didn't watch it, you could pretty much picture what happened. It was great. They were back and forth. They did all their moves.
Yep.
It's a typical KO Sammy Bloodline match.
It was actually a real boring match. It really was.
Yeah,
up until
Roman
a
did not
point,
participate very much. He was just standing out of the way.
That was planned, but just
mind you, this is his 1000th day as the undisputed champion. So
or just
this was
as
supposed
AEW
to be,
champion. I don't know.
his celebratory day of being the 1000th day champion.
Renamed and changed that title so many damn times.
Right. So it's supposed to be a big day for him, and this is how he's spending it. And of course, Sammy's getting love, so he is just. Like you said with Bianca, he's really unfolding as the match is coming.
Yeah,
into fruition.
And the whole match it felt slow paced, and
the whole pay-per-view did.
They were very, somebody would hit a move, somebody else would hit a move, and then they'd kind of have a standoff for a couple minutes. Roman wouldn't tag, or he would tag. He'd be outside the ring while Solo was getting double teamed. There wasn't a lot of It felt like you kept tapping the gas instead of putting your foot on it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But it. And even in a cliche, the Usos showed up. I think everybody,
of course,
when they said, "Oh, the Usos they'll be happily watching from home." Well, that just means that they're going to be there. So they're there, and you're just like, oh, okay.
Well, they're there because they're trying to help Roman. They're trying to help Solo.
Yeah,
so
and they're trying to kind of get back into the good graces of Roman.
Yeah, so they're trying to take KO and Sammy out, who have been nothing but obviously issues to them for a while. They go to take them out, and unfortunately, Sami Zayn blocks the super kicks, and Solo Sikoa gets the super kick party.
His older brothers take him out.
He's dizzy. He's out. He's on the ground, and Roman saw all of it.
Yep.
Now, at this point, the ref's out, too, because the ref was speared by Roman Reigns, of course. Some type of accidental ref interference
Sammy flipped
here.
out of the way.
Yep. So there's no ref, and it gives the opportunity for them to all kind of talk about what just happened, what's going on.
But then after that kick, Roman rolls in, and it just you can see the bloodline just completely unfurling right there in the ring. He yells at them, "You ain't the ones no more. Get the hell out of my ring." Starts pushing up on Jay, and Jimmy comes out of nowhere and super kicks the hell out of Roman. And I think the entire crowd just kind of went, what?
Yeah, I got a huge pop out of me. It's like all this tension that's been building for just months and months is finally happening. And
even Jay was in like, oh, he was like, what did you just do that
of
for?
all people, for it to be Jimmy, I suspected Solo, I suspected Jay, but until the last week, I never would have thought Jimmy.
But that's one thing WWE has been great with the Usos, if they've gone back and forth, because originally Jay was all about the bloodline,
right?
And Jimmy was all about Sammy. And then it kind of swayed the other way. Jimmy wasn't so sure about Sammy anymore towards the end of him being in the bloodline.
But now Jay's defending
and then it went
Sammy.
back and forth. And it's been a great dynamic, kind of showing that both the brothers have vulnerabilities and both brothers have the capability of not being as level-headed as the other one. And it kind of shows how these two balance each other out. Because as Jay was like kind of trying to figure out why Jimmy just did that, Jimmy, exactly like you said, he said, "I'm your brother, not him. Like, I did this because we should have done this. You should have done this.
Yep.
And he's like, I would never steer you wrong. I'd never treat you like he treated us.
Yeah, I got you. And then he kicked him again.
Yeah. And it obviously set up for the end of the match, and Sammy and KO gets the win. And man,
that's it. Roman told them, like, you're not day one anymore. Like, that's it.
They're out of the bloodline, I guess.
Yeah. So, but what did they have to lose? The
match was not the greatest.
No.
Especially for a KO Sammy and bloodline match, it wasn't the best. But I don't think
it wasn't for the wrestling, though. It was the story.
It definitely wasn't, and that's we said that at the beginning of this recording was this premium live event was definitely not a wrestler's or a wrestler's pay-per-view, premium live event, whatever the fuck it is. It was a storytelling, and this is like the difference between the WWE crowd and the AEW crowd. The ones that are only one or the other is you have WWE has a great way of pandering to the common audience, to the everyday fan, the young fan. They're good at marketing an individual or an idea and running with it and really putting their heart and soul into it to try to make the most out of it. Whereas AEW is more focused around the matches. It's not
so
as much
focused
around the storyline. There is storyline. And this is a lot of criticism that AEW gets is, they don't have storyline. And I've been a vocal one about it myself. But
there's plenty of storyline tomorrow at Double or Nothing.
There's sometimes more than storyline that goes into matches. And yes, it has a limited amount of life where you can only do dream matches so many times because eventually you see somebody every week doing dream matches. Eventually that person's not really a dream opponent anymore. And I understand it. But this premium live event was so WWE and it was done so well that I wasn't as excited with these matches, but the outcomes of everything,
yes,
the end
what's
results,
to come from this,
the plot lines that have been fed into me by WWE have got me hooked.
Right,
and I was very critical about WWE a few months ago, and now I'm just as excited to see Raw coming up tomorrow. Or I'm sorry, it'll be tonight when you hear this, but in 2 days when it finally comes
what's
on.
actually going to come from this.
I love it because I'm finally not finally, but I'm still excited to see WWE, even though it's not the AEW product that I originally started watching when we got back into wrestling. And I've grown to enjoy the WWE product again. And this was a pay-per-view premium live event that did exactly that for me.
Yeah, it gives you something to look forward to. It gives you a storyline to hold on to. And I don't know, me personally, after all of this was done, I'm thinking Solo versus Roman at the next pay-per-view, which is Money in the Bank.
Oh, yeah,
and
we're not
damn
done.
It, if you don't put Io Sky as the winner of the women's Money in the Bank, Triple H,
Io
you are
Sky
slacking.
and Asuka.
What, to have them wrestle?
Yeah.
I've been waiting for that for a long time. Don't get me started on that. One thing that I really thought was interesting is they had the match between Bianca Belair and Asuka. Asuka won the belt. She's the Raw Women's Champion on SmackDown. Then immediately thereafter, we had Rhea Ripley versus Natalya, who is the SmackDown Women's Champion on Raw. I felt like, oh, they purposefully did that so that there could be like maybe an Asuka Rhea Ripley like transaction where they trade the belts or something happens, but they didn't do anything with it, and I don't understand what the intentions of that are.
I feel like if they're going to do that, they're going to do that on Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to waste the time on especially a premium live event because nobody really wants to see that.
Just weird. It's
no,
I
100%
questions.
agree. I agree, but I feel like if they are going to do that, they need to do it on a Raw or SmackDown.
So yeah, hopefully this week it will happen. But you know, Asuka just won that belt. Now she has to transfer belts, so it's like new streak. The whole thing is weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was a weird missed opportunity, even to have them like lock eyes with each other, something.
Yeah, even in the back, like a backstage
happened.
segment, something.
Yeah,
I mean,
something.
honest to God, that would be an amazing match between the two of them.
I just thought it would be fun
if champion versus a champion match for bragging rights.
Well, I mean, Rhea's so cocky. I thought it would be fun if maybe she was like, "Oh, you're the new champion. Well, you know, why don't you fight me and see who's the best, just for shits and giggles?"
Right.
You're gonna tell me no one wants to watch that?
Oh, I'd love to see that.
That would be phenomenal.
I'd love to see that.
Something that they could do but didn't do here. So that was pretty much everything that happened at Night of Champions. Wasn't fantastic. It wasn't bad. It was pretty good. So
not bad for a 1 o'clock pay-per-view.
Not bad for a 1 o'clock pay-per-view where everybody was probably extremely tired from all that traveling.
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to sell the angle that they were all on Friday Night SmackDown the night, like, 16 hours prior?
Yeah, they literally hopped on a plane and went straight there. They got off the plane, got into their gear, and
they had
wrestled.
a plane sitting on top of the stadium where WWE SmackDown was being broadcasted, and they flew. But that will do it for our WWE coverage. We also will be doing WWE, AEW Double or Nothing, which will be tomorrow. That'll be either later on in this podcast, or it might just be in a second podcast, depending on how long we go.
Please flip the cassette over to side B to continue the adventure.
Hello, friends, and welcome back. We are just finishing up Double or Nothing with AEW, and again, we're just going to jump right into it and talk a little bit about it because it was something to be talked about.
It was a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, it really was.
I'm not sure if that was a good thing, especially for the first half of this. It started off real nice.
Yeah, it started off fantastic.
We did have the pre-show where Matt Hardy, the Hardys and Hook took on Ethan Page and the Ass Boys, and the Hardys and Hook ended up coming out on top. Congratulations to them. He now owns Ethan Page's contract thanks to the Ass Boys. But it was such a bleak dot on honestly, it was probably one of a better match than some of the matches that started.
Jeff took a weird fall, but stuff happens.
But we started off Double or Nothing with the 21-man Blackjack Battle Royale for Orange Cassidy's Intercontinental Championship.
International Championship.
International. Orange, obviously, at a severe disadvantage, having to defend against 20 other guys. He's already gone, I think it was 22-0, and so this was his 23rd defense. He's beat up. His back's hurt. He comes out with more tape every single week.
Yep.
And I really had a good hope for this pay-per-view because this match really set it off.
It was a great way to start it off, you know.
We were excited for it to begin with, but as it progressed, it was just little storylines here and there.
It was good. And what was cool too was they didn't worry about packing the buy-in filled with matches.
It was nice.
They put the one buy-in match and then they gave 10 minutes for everybody to get their own entrance, come out, get their minute, and as soon as Orange Cassidy's intro was over, the actual pay-per-view started. So they timed it so perfectly.
And I felt nice. It was like I didn't have to rush to get to the pre-show. If I miss the pre-show, it's just one match. Usually they'll have like three, because we always expect there to be like three matches.
Right.
And it just didn't pan out that way. So it just worked out real well.
They did some interviews with Renee, Stokely, She wanted to call him Big Show, but Paul White, I didn't
Right.
catch who the other guy was, but it was really good. They had some good interviews, and that was very interesting. But again, they gave everybody their moment. Everybody came out to the ring, and it was classic Battle Royale, as far as...
Casino Battle Royale.
Everybody
starts in the ring.
Yep. Well, but there was a lot of people outside of the ring at first. So, you have your typical people that are going to run in, your faces that run in and fight.
They make it very apparent that in order to start, you have to cross the ropes and put both feet in the ring. If you don't do that, you technically don't even start.
Yeah, so why jump in immediately, Stick around,
one of those
watch
little
everybody else
rules
get
that
beat
makes
up.
everybody get out of the way so you
Classic
can have only 10
move.
people in the ring. Good match. They had a lot of good spots. Nobody looked weak. There wasn't any... And I hate using Kofi Kingston as the standard, but I really think he's the standard in Rumbles nowadays. There wasn't any Kofi Kingston moments. Orange Cassidy got dangled a couple times, and it ended up getting down to the final four: Big Bill, Penta, Swerve, and Orange Cassidy. And
I couldn't have called that four people.
No, and of course you and I are sitting there talking about, maybe Jay White's actually going to win this because we both guessed it was going to be Jay White.
Then maybe it's Butch. Then maybe it's this.
But 5 seconds later, every time we brought somebody up there, they go over the top rope.
Yep.
But it was really good. Got down to the last four. I liked how they built it up so that Penta, the martyr of everybody, he gets thrown out first, so that he makes the other three look good. You have Big Bill, the monster, who looks like he's the sure win, and then you've got Swerve, who's always the sneaky one, and you've got the face Orange Cassidy. It was the perfect combination.
It really was the perfect combination, and you had Penta and Swerve who've worked together in Lucha Underground.
Right.
Swerve being Killshot. Thank you. Oh my God, it was slipping my mind. But so they've obviously known each other for a while.
Right.
Brian Cage was around for a while too, so it was kind of funny. It was like, these guys used to all work together. But it came down to the final four. Of course, everybody made everybody else look good. Penta went out quick, which you should have known because he looked way too good.
Way too strong going into the final four. Especially being a tag team and a trio. Yeah. He's the ROH tag champion.
Yeah, but Big Bill actually knocked him out, and I wasn't mad about that. I actually geeked out for a second. I was like, okay, that's good.
There was a little... Once Jay White was out of the match, I was like, it's Orange Cassidy all day.
Yeah.
Those were the two I was going back and forth, and right up an hour before we made our selections, the match started when we made our predictions. By the way, use hashtag CAW predictions next time we're doing a pay-per-view. Get in on the action. We just kind of have fun with who's doing the predictions and who can guess it right.
Love to see what you guys think.
But as soon as Jay White got thrown out, it was instantly, Orange Cassidy's got this all day.
Yeah.
But when it was them, just Big Bill, Swerve, and Orange, I was really kind of hoping Big Bill was going to get that push because I really enjoyed Big Bill when he was Big Cass in WWE. I think he's had a great journey from being down low to up where he's at now.
And he had some good moments in this last little bit between the three of them.
Yeah, they really established him as a really massive star,
which they should,
size wise.
They really should. He is. But then it came down to Swerve and Orange Cassidy, and it was literally edge of your seat. We really didn't know who was going to win it. Swerve is just so good. He makes everybody look really good. Obviously, Orange is really good at making everybody else look good. But they got on the apron, and that's when, the butt cheeks clench. It's like, who's really going to get it,
I love
There's going to be some crazy moves.
It was the most Orange Cassidy thing that's ever happened in all of Battle Royale.
Yeah, I mean, they're out on the apron. Swerve and Orange Cassidy
one of those, why doesn't everybody do this?
Of course. And then he gears up, and he's like, Orange Punch. Clearly, that's what I'm going to do.
Nope.
He just
kicks his arm.
And Swerve falls to the ground, and Orange Cassidy retains.
Paul Turner and just kicks his arm. And it was the greatest. It was one of the better battle royales of AEW.
Yes,
all time.
Because the whole thing made sense because you had Keith Lee, Brian Cage, Swerve, who obviously have something going on.
Right. Dustin Rhodes was in there with them.
Yeah, exactly. Dustin Rhodes was in there. You had Jay White, you had Juice Robinson, and Ricky Stark. Yep. So there was that dynamic. It was just layered with all these
Butcher
people
just was trying to take chunks of meat out of everybody's ass.
Smart move,
really
but there
good.
was a lot of storyline that was laid down and furthered other people's stories in addition to furthering Orange Cassidy as one of the best champions in AEW history. Really,
I tweeted about it, and I'm not even joking. You brought this up off mic. He has had 23 title defenses, and I think Roman's had 26.
I think he's had 28.
28. So I mean, in a fraction of the time, my man has been able to defend his title.
Yep. It's going to get to a
Move
point where
over,
he literally
Tribal King.
can't.
It's sloth style king.
Sloth style, baby. It's going to get to a point where he can't get off the couch and he's just going to be like, whatever, like, I can't do this anymore.
Talking about Roman
And
or
just
Orange?
like give it, well, I meant Orange. He's just going to give up the belt and be like, here, whatever. I just can't. I'm tired. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
he's not even
yeah.
going to lose it. He's going to be like, yeah, it's fine here. Just
I'm
Danhausen.
surprised. That's what I thought they were doing with this, and I'm surprised that's not where it went already.
They did it perfect. Couldn't have done it better. Great way to start off the show. And then it got a little weird from here.
So Adam Cole made his debut. made his
debut, baby.
His debut back in AEW a couple months ago. Had a match against Daniel Garcia, and it's been relatively quiet. There hasn't been a lot, and then he starts feuding with Chris Jericho. They had this real short build into this match, and they ended up setting up this unsanctioned match.
Right. Obviously, Roderick Strong and Chris Jericho's
Right.
match set this up too. But
So all these things accumulate. You got the JAS, Roderick Strong and Adam Cole beat the hell out of Jericho in their Anywhere Falls match between him and Roderick Strong. So you really thought they were going to go all out. It's an unsanctioned match.
yeah, I mean, that match with Roderick was great.
Oh yeah, it's close to opening the pay-per-view right after a battle royale.
yeah.
Like, oh man,
Two
this is going to be
huge names in wrestling.
Yeah, and Jericho's not one to really miss. And same thing with Adam Cole. Like, he delivers every time. That's why everybody loves him. They had Sabu debut with him last week is kind of like a pseudo redragon, I guess. And then this match happened, and it was one of the worst matches of the night. It was one of the worst AEW pay-per-view matches that I've seen.
Let me preface this by saying I don't think there was any justice for anybody in the pay-per-view because the crowd was a wet
I'll
fart.
give you that. The crowd was not there, especially for the first half.
Right.
But
Now, was this match worthy of
I can't
applause?
even make an argument that crowd was the reason why this match sucks so bad.
But it made it so much worse.
Oh,
like,
100%.
It made
But
it
do you blame
awkward. No.
For an unsanctioned match, number one, why was there a referee there?
Right.
Number two, why were there it didn't feel like an unsanctioned match. If anything, this should have opened the show. Like, I understand they did the entrances.
Agreed.
I don't know. It
wasn't
not
good,
feel important.
and it ended-
didn't feel violent. It
Yeah.
didn't feel dangerous like it was
And it
supposed
was
to.
weird, like, why did they decide to put this on the same pay-per-view that they were heavily promoting an Anarchy in the Arena match?
Right.
So it's really hard to have the same exact vibe for two matches and not do the same exact ideas because you've got all of Blackpool Combat Club facing all of the Elite. That's 8 people. Pure pandemonium ends up happening. Of course, I could tell you that without you seeing it.
It felt like a dangerous match. It felt
did.
like somebody was going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And for being Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, unsanctioned match, beat the shit out of each other.
Speaking of Britt Baker, I think the only thing that was really interesting about the match was Britt Baker came out with a kendo stick and beat the shit out of Chris Jericho.
Came out for what, 2 minutes?
Chris
Beat
Jericho
and then skedaddled
really
off?
never got back up.
No, I know.
I don't know if he got hurt. That was the plan. It was awkward. All of the above. I really don't know. But it ended, and Aubrey was like, he can't fight anymore, and he had a black eye.
It was
so
really strange.
Weird.
It was Adam Cole was dropping hammer fists on Jericho, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And Aubrey's just standing there. Adam Cole stops and resumes punching him, and then Aubrey walks in and says, all right, he can't. That's it. It was the weirdest ending to a match that should have been one of the most jaw-dropping matches, especially with the men that were in it. You've got Chris Jericho, who's, like I said, he always delivers on his matches, especially in these pay-per-view matches.
So
Adam
what
Cole
happened?
the same way. I don't know. I don't think it was an injury. I really don't.
That would be the only thing that would make sense because, okay, he physically can't fight, but, I mean, he cut a promo afterwards with a black eye.
I think that's the way it was supposed to go, and I just don't
It
think
was
it
weak.
resonated well. It really wasn't. It wasn't a good match.
And I wasn't really I was
And it's a
unable to
shame.
pay attention at the beginning because we were unfortunately doing a couple things. I never even saw Sabu.
I don't remember seeing him mentioned more than once.
It was odd.
I thought he was supposed to be like a special enforcer. Maybe he was going to get involved, but I don't remember seeing him more than in the beginning.
No.
And they didn't, I just...
Did no justice for this match.
No. It was unfortunate because I was really looking forward to this match.
Because it feels like Adam Cole is definitely going on for a championship run, trying to build up for a huge match.
Right,
and
but
then
I just don't feel like this was good
what do you
enough.
do after this? Now you've got to do something else. This can't be... the
Well,
up and up for Adam Cole.
Where do you go up from here? It was so
You
so
can't.
flat.
You need another good match just to build that back up. So, I hate to say it, and it's nothing against Adam Cole, but Chris Jericho can put over anybody. So what happened here?
Yeah, I don't know. It was either
Hopefully we'll find out.
These two just didn't click on the same tracks with one another, or it was just an off night, or this 100%
Or something
just
happened.
didn't. I think this is starting to play into the Outcasts and Britt Baker and Saraya, because now they have this tag match between Chris Jericho, Saraya, and Adam Cole and Britt Baker on Wednesday, and that storyline's been real rough to get by. And I mean, I think
hopefully they pull out something really good for Dynamite.
I mean, yeah, hopefully, because it's just not doing it for me.
No.
Hopefully this bleeds into something much bigger
That was
and
a fail
better,
for me.
but it doesn't do it for me. What did do it for me was the AEW Tag Team Championship match between FTR, Jeff Jarrett, and Jay Lethal.
I thought it was really fun. I mean, you knew
There's
it was going to be
nothing-
interesting.
Nothing glitzy or glamorous
No,
about this match.
just Karen Jarrett.
There was one spot that was great, but honest to God, this was just two really good tag teams.
It
going
was
back
pure
and forth.
entertainment with Mark Briscoe and the camo referee outfit.
It felt like a match between two tag teams more so than it did a tag team championship match. And
yes,
that may sound weird, but I really enjoyed it because I was more involved in the storyline between FTR, Jeff Jarrett, and Jay Lethal, and Mark Briscoe being like the oddball, the one that's
right.
You don't know how it's going to go because he's been angered by both sides.
Exactly. And Mark comes down and says multiple times, right down the middle. I'm going to call it right down the middle,
and
baby.
He did. He called this match right down the middle.
He was a fantastic ref, like for real.
Yeah.
If he needs a backup job,
I know, right?
He was a great ref. He really did. He called it right down the middle.
But Jeff Jarrett came out in complete heel fashion, had two guitars, one with Dax, one with Cash on it. Didn't quite get used the way they wanted. Karen Jarrett came down, ended up plastering Aubrey Edwards with a guitar. Actually,
she
it
took a
didn't.
bump.
She didn't get a real good like centered hit on it, but she looked like she caught her with the edge.
Yeah.
But either way, golf clap to Aubrey Edwards for taking that bump. A lot of the
Wasn't
refs
the only one.
Oh yeah, a lot of refs take bumps in this pay-per-view.
They do.
But overall, great match. I really enjoyed this, and it felt. Unfortunately, it felt the effects of the match that happened prior, so it took me a little bit to get involved in it. But once I did, it was good. The ending
wrestling was great. The story was good. Mark Briscoe gets blasted with a guitar, of course.
It all happens exactly how you think it's
beautifully.
Jeff Jarrett turns on Mark Briscoe and starts treating him not nice, and that goes and kind of bites him in the ass. And FTR ends up winning, retaining their titles. And I thank God that it started to get a little better from here. Like really, like it was just at this point we were not really feeling the greatest, especially after that initial match.
Right. So it was like build the steam. Like we need this. We need the momentum. This crowd needs to wake up.
And of course, you got 7-star
Everybody
FTR.
needs to win.
I mean, come on.
Exactly.
Like, they always deliver. And Jeff Jarrett's another one of those like Chris Jericho's for me. Like I'm supposed to hate him, and I've hated him every time I see him on TV because that's what he does. Like he does his job very, very well, and they did that tonight.
The TNT title was on the line in a ladder match against Wardlow and Christian Cage. Wow. I mean, Christian Cage obviously knows a thing or two about ladder matches.
Yes.
So to have him come in here, of course, it was part of the story and needed to happen. The ladder match made sense. Let's be thankful. It looks like everybody made it out okay on the other end of this match.
Yeah, last time Luchasaurus was involved in anything that had to do with ladders, tables, and chairs.
Yeah. Oh my!
Didn't work it too well. It worked out great for him, but not his opponent.
Yep, there were a lot of bumps. Luchasaurus was not as involved as I had imagined it would be, so it was good. It was good. It needed to be that way so Christian could actually get in a good match with Wardlow. Christian looked great.
What are we doing with Luch, though?
I don't know.
He had a little bit to do with the match, but nothing more than Sanjay Dutt would have had with Lethal.
But I'm okay with that because I think it was really important to give Christian his time. The crowd was loving to yell turtleneck at him the entire time. Poor guy was like half distracted.
A sleeveless turtleneck.
He always wears a sleeveless turtleneck.
We know somebody who wears a hoodie with no sleeves. Who does that? Why are you wearing hoodies?
Are you talking about John
sleeves?
Moxley?
No, yeah. No, I'm talking about Tyler.
Oh, yeah.
Why do
it's
you
a weird look.
Who wears hoodies without sleeves?
Yeah. Oh, well, maybe that's Christian's doing that on purpose.
It's like wearing assless pants.
As every ladder match lately in AEW, the ladder got absolutely annihilated at one point.
Wardlow jumps off the top rope while while Christian's on the ladder and about destroys it. I'm surprised that thing held up as well as it did.
Yeah, that's right. He jumped from the ropes onto the ladder, and it just
splintered. The legs splintered. And I love how they're still trying to, the steel ladder splintering. Like, steel doesn't splinter.
Right.
It's fiberglass. But
he tries to climb it.
Yeah, and I think Bryce Remsburg shouted,
absolutely
we don't
not.
need Bully Ray yelling at us again. Stop.
I thought the first thing
ladder.
I thought.
Plus, one benefit he
Taz
did have,
was yelling.
It was definitely not the ladder. You know that ladder. When the ladder matches start, you know when there's going to be a ladder spot,
the one that can reach.
Or if there's going to be if the match is almost over. Because when the match is almost over, the ladder goes practically goes to the damn belt.
The 12-foot goes up there.
But when it's Jeff Hardy and there's a table and somebody gets hit,
and you get the 6 foot
you
out,
get the 6 foot.
You know you're getting the swanton.
You might even get swerved with the 8 foot. Well, if he stood on top,
maybe if he jumps on top of Matt's shoulders.
By the way, we do need to have a talk with Jeff Hardy, and if he has another
some
ladder
OSHA
match,
violations.
you're not allowed to talk or to stand on the second to last or the top rung of the ladder.
Correct.
It is against the ladder safety issue.
Yes. Also, 3 points of contact
at
is
all times.
Extremely important.
2 toes while you're doing a front flip is just not going to do it for us, Mr. Hardy.
That's OSHA violations all day. But great match.
Imagine if wrestling actually had to pander to OSHA standards.
They're like, well, we're not going to cover
boots, safety glasses, hearing protection.
We're not going to cover
protection.
Brother Zay's injury because he wasn't wearing protective gear.
Could you imagine Jeff Hardy wearing a strap and harness? So every time he does a swanton, it gently lowers him down on top of his opponent.
I do like that they really drove home on that last unsanctioned match. That if somebody got home, they wouldn't pay for it, or got hurt, they wouldn't get paid for it.
But there was a ref there.
There was a ref for it.
There was a count.
But I really thought it was funny that they kept saying that. And I was like, this guy just came back from a concussion. And they're straight saying that if something happens to him, they're not going to pay for it.
Yeah, we know you just got better, but
you signed up for it. Also, no interaction from anybody, outsider interaction, really.
Yeah, not really.
Weird. We're going back to that match. That was odd. I have a lot of questions. I don't know.
Wardlow ends up retaining his title.
As he should.
I think we move on, or we put Luchasaurus up against Wardlow. Something needs to happen with Wardlow because he is such a good talent, and they give him a belt, and then they just let him sit there in the water and tread water. And I don't know what they're doing with him, and I just want to see him more. I want to see Wardlow powerbomb more people that are worth it, that are actually a challenge for him.
New storylines. Come up with something different. Find somebody that's really good on the mic that can come out there and challenge Wardlow, have a good little run for a while. He needs it. He deserves it. He's a great champion. He's a great. I love Wardlow. As a person, he's such a humble dude and a sweet guy, and I want to root for him. But the storylines just keep falling flat. So bring in, I don't know. Here's the first person that came to mind: Jay Lethal, and have him face Wardlow, so that somebody's on the mic, somebody can talk smack. Wardlow can
but still pose a challenge.
Yeah, exactly. So it can be spiced up and interesting. And let's move Christian on to somebody else that's not Wardlow or Jungle Boy. Please.
So go ahead and go to the bathroom, get your snack, whatever you need to do. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because this podcast is already going to be long enough.
This one bummed me out, guys.
We really don't. We really try to focus on the positive here.
Of course.
And coming off my comments after the Jericho Adam Cole match, I'm hating this Outcasts storyline with Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, Hikaru Shida, whatever, Sky Blue.
It's too forced.
I can't stand it anymore.
I really don't like it either.
We had for the women's title, Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm. Now, it's been talked about in the rumor mills, on the dirt sheets, that Jamie Hayter has been hurt. She's been hurt for the past 2 weeks.
Right.
And there's never really been a clear, decisive report saying that she is fully cleared or fully healed. So kind of questionable about what's going on going into this.
Yeah, they're kind of playing the Cody angle where it's she's coming in hurt, but she wants to fight,
We start the match. You got Toni Storm comes out with her music. And immediately it starts off okay, we're really going to do this.
Yep. Starts
off where Jamie Hayter's music plays. She doesn't come out. It plays again. And then she's being attacked by Ruby and
Saraya.
Thank
Instantly hating it. Already not liking
the
it,
ref's
'cause you
not
can
doing anything
see
about it. This is a championship match.
The writing is all over the wall because I was praying that everybody was wrong. You know, I try not to believe the dirt sheets. I try not to believe the rumor mills.
And it felt like they were going to do that because she gets in the ring and like she like kind of pushes everybody off. What bothers me is nobody's come down to help her.
Right.
Nobody has come. They have had weeks and weeks of issues with these all three of these girls.
And if
Not
Jamie's hurt like that, why would she even defend her championship?
But if she is hurt, why? Where was Hikaru Shida? She comes in later. Where was Britt Baker? She shows up without an issue. She never got attacked.
Yeah, they showed up for the other match.
Oh yeah, they showed
for Chris Jericho's match.
Oh yeah. It was like, okay, so she comes out, she's able to ward all three of them off, she jumps in the ring, and like a true fighting champion, she's like, yo, let's go, let's fight. And it was the sloppiest, sluggish match.
Weakest.
Maybe lasted,
Horrible.
3.5 minutes. Toni Storm hit the late. Like I've been critical about her Storm Zero. It's just I don't know if it's the move. It's the drag pile driver. I hate it, and it was just as
the hip attack always comes in hard, but it was just so weak.
And yeah, she drops her and she pins her.
And even the celebration afterwards, it was just like.
They
a wet fart. I don't know how else to describe it. Nobody cared.
They start attacking her, and then finally people come out. And that was it.
Who cares?
It was so bad. You
can't recover from that.
It was so bad.
And what is it? Oh, we're afraid to run the Thunder Rosa thing again where somebody's hurt? Then hear me out.
Are they waiting for
That's
collision?
Ridiculous. No. That's ridiculous because if something like that happened, Jamie Hayter's hurt, okay? She can't defend the championship. Do exactly like NXT just did. Fine, we're having a tournament.
Yep.
We're having a tournament and it starts tonight. Jamie Hayter can't fight.
They had
Toni
3
Storm's
weeks?
in the tournament. We're gonna start the tournament. It's night one tonight, and whoever wins progresses on to the next one. Dynamite's the next match. Like, come on, guys.
Yep. They had 3 weeks to be able to come up with a backup plan.
That was so weak, unplanned. I didn't like it.
I want to get involved in the women's
the wind
division
out
in
of it.
AEW. I want to get involved. I want to be excited to see. These women get on screen, and it just
you just wait a few more minutes because we eventually do get it.
Yeah,
but up until here, it's
even that's an isolated thing. The women's division AEW is struggling so much, and I hate saying that because
they're way too focused on the Outcast and Britt and Hikaru Shida being a separate thing. They're way too worried about taking these women's matches and making them tag matches. You know, if it didn't work out for WWE, I don't know why AEW thinks it's going to work out for them. And forever, Jamie Hayter was in a tag match with Britt Baker.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. I want to see Jamie defending it. So it just... I loved her reign as champion. It was so good. But I feel like it's tainted just like Toni Storm's first run was.
Right.
You know, I'm interim, but now I really am. You know, and I'm sorry it didn't work out the first time. But this is such a bad way to start out Toni's second reign as the champion.
Right.
I'm not excited about it now.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
All right, the next match, although a great match, we don't want to spend too much time on because nothing super progressed from this storyline wise, but the Trios title open challenge match between the House of Black and they had basically an open challenge, like I just said.
Right. And the Acclaimed, they hinted out at Rampage.
Yep.
And lo and behold, they show up, and everybody loves the Acclaimed.
Everybody does love the Acclaimed.
Unfortunately, the House always wins, and they did tonight. They defended their titles, and they continue on their reign as the 6-man tag team champions in AEW, and God, I love it.
You're not even going to talk about what Max Caster said about Buddy?
Oh, my God, Buddy. Buddy's being cucked by a boy named Dominic. It's so good. You got to go back and watch his raps. It's on AEW's social media. It's so good.
Always worth the listen, but he really, really dug into everybody on this one. He actually...
I told you we should have had some more audio queued up on the computer.
He got Brody to crack.
Yeah, and that's not a easy thing to do. That man looks angry and tough all the time. Even when he has his... 3-year-old daughter, he still looks like he's about to tear the world in half. Great match between the two tag teams. Not a lot to unpack from this. Just another match to get the 6-man tag titles on the pay-per-view, fill another 20-30 minute void. Great match. Billy Ass kills it. I'm sorry, the Trios. Billy Ass kills it. The Acclaim kills it. The House
gives another
it.
win to the House, which is great. Keeps their reign going. I love what they're doing together. I love all the matches they've been having with everybody. I'm just waiting for that opportunity for I guess Forbidden Door or something, because they always mention one rule, but they never really touch on it, is that any 3 people can make
Right. It doesn't matter who
a
it is.
trio and challenge the House of Black.
That means the sky's the limit. Anybody can do it. So that's always an interesting aspect to it.
Absolutely. All right, so here comes the time where the ladies finally do absolutely kick it into gear. And from here on out, everything gets very, very exciting.
But see, I feel like Jade Cargill's not even part of the women's division. She's like above the women's division.
She's above like everybody in AEW. She's indestructible. This would be her 60th win if she wins it. So obviously a huge win for Jade.
A rematch against Taya Valkyrie, who wrestled her for it was like 4 or 5 matches ago. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
she could use. They can use the Jaded or the Road to Valhalla.
Everything's open. A monumental 60th match. And she pulls it off.
Taya makes Jade look phenomenal, and not that Jade needed the extra push, but Taya just made everything look really good. Jade pulled out some moves that she literally has never moved.
Every
submissions.
big match that she's in lately, every new one she's adding to her repertoire. I know she's been working with Bryan Danielson.
Yep, it shows.
But she is improving her moveset to not just your standard big haymaker, big boot, Jaded. She's actually doing some aerial moves. She's doing a lot of ground moves.
She got up on the top ropes and jumped off. It was impressive.
She's developing very nicely.
Yep.
And
she pulls it off.
Did a great job here.
What I did like was Taya hit the Road to Valhalla on Jade. Jade kicked out. Jade hit the Jaded on Taya, and Taya does not kick out.
Yeah.
So that was a very interesting part of it, and of course you want to know how that's going to happen with the whole Jaded and the Road to Valhalla, and there's a huge celebration afterward. This is 60-0 for Jade Cargill. She's been wrestling just over 2 years. It's huge. Mark Sterling gets in. Huge celebration. He's like, listen, she's beat everybody in AEW. Like, we will challenge this belt, like, right here, right now. Like, we will do this. But, it's just too bad because there isn't anybody around that could possibly challenge right now for Jade's belt. And boy, was everybody wrong. You want to talk about a pop?
Oh my God.
You want to talk about a
my
pop?
My girl, Kris Statlander comes back from an
baby.
injury.
She's back.
She rushes to the ring and just lays out. Oh my God, so good. It was like a 45-second match. She gets her. And she pins her. And Kris Statlander, ladies and gentlemen, is your new TBS champion. Your
only the second person to ever hold this belt.
The title.
Congratulations.
Ends the streak at 60-1. I don't know what Jade was thinking, and it backfired almost the last time she did the stupid open challenge shit.
Ended for Jade better.
Oh my God, so
ended
good.
Her story
so good. I gotta turn the music off, I guess, before we get copyrighted straight.
Yeah, it made sense the way it ended. It was perfect. She whooped Taya's ass.
It was a great match.
It was phenomenal.
It was really a good match between the two of them.
The cockiness of Jade, which was always a big thing about her, finally went against her.
It was one of those things that everybody knew that was going to be her downfall. That's how every quote unquote bully is. It's always like the downfall is the cockiness.
Yeah.
You're never gonna be best. I'm better than everybody. And then there's always somebody better. There's always somebody that does that move quicker, that hits harder, that can put you in a submission just a little bit more to make it hurt that much, that can jump higher. And they
who
play
better
on that for over a year with Jade. She just hit a year, and then 60-1, Kris Statlander comes back from her second knee injury on her other leg.
There's not a better, honest to God, deserving champion. Between her and Orange Cassidy, these two have been working.
They're fucking both champions together.
We didn't even mention that, actually, Trent Beretta saved Orange Cassidy and took a bullet. Otherwise, Orange Cassidy would have gotten knocked out.
Somebody went to hit Cassidy with a big boot. It might have been Big Bill. It more than likely was. And Trent pushed Orange out of the way, took one to the grill, and got eliminated.
Saved
some true
Orange.
best friend shit right there.
So, yeah, we got two best friends with belts, and these two have been killing it in AEW. They've been holding up, talk about pillars. They've been holding down the division for a really long time. I'm so happy for Kris.
I don't know how Orange isn't considered a pillar, but congratulations to Kris Statlander.
So happy. She's such a great person.
If you're going to bring up the pillars, we're going to have to talk about the next match.
So many people were hating on this and not excited about it.
I'm one of them. Going into this match, I was not happy with the build-up. I was not happy with the 4 pillars. interaction with one another. I was not happy. I was not happy for this match to happen. I wasn't excited for this match to happen. I was only excited to see how they were going to make this play out. And
for me, this was the best match by far, wrestling-wise.
Wrestling-wise, 100%. You want to talk about surprise and make me jump off the couch? That was Kris Statlander. If you want to talk about just pure match because it's fun, that's going to be the BCC.
And we'll get to that, but this was incredible. So
it blew the expectations, I believe, out of the water.
I mean, if you for a second hesitated on any of these guys and thought that none of them could win, every single person got an opportunity to win this match.
There's an alternate universe where all three of the others won their respective belts.
Did you notice that everybody got a special entrance except for Jungle Boy?
No, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I did not realize that.
I'm still waiting on the heel turn.
If we're going to talk about entrances, we're also going to have to point out congratulations to Ty and Sammy. They announced tonight with a classic trope of Sammy's with the cue cards that they're having a wee little baby.
Oh, lad.
Great. It's another gross little Sammy with stupid hair. Congratulations to them. Always good to see good things happening to good people. Yep. I don't know them personally, and I know they're heels on TV, but I'm sure they're not that awful human beings.
MJF's entrance was sick. He came down in the throne with the devil mask.
The landing of the throne on the stage and the snap of the music was just
flawless.
So good. Chef's kiss. This match from beginning to end was amazing.
There was no downfall. There was no bad moment. There was
any outcome could have been great. They had a four-way submission between all four members. They had the classic I punch you and then you turn to him and you punch him and you turn to him and you punch him.
You do your move, I do my move.
It was everything that you could ever want in this match.
Yep. It looks like the Young Bucks maybe helped them do this match, helped this construct this match, because it was very typical of how their matches are, where that exact thing. And MJF's getting good at that too, where you have the 1 2 1 2 1 2, and it's going back and forth.
I will argue
that happens a lot in this too.
I will argue, and I hope they take this into account. There was a point where Jungle Boy rolls up MJF. He gets to 2. Darby Allin jumps over and grabs MJF's legs and brings him down closer on the other side, bringing the pin in tighter, not breaking Jungle Boy's pin, but in fact cinching it in harder, and the referee stopped the count and counted from Darby Allin's shoulders trying to pin, and I think that's bullshit.
Well, there's a lot going on, and obviously
bullshit.
It's not supposed to
better
be like
refereeing. No more ladder holding.
Whoa. I believe that was Bryce Remsburg. Don't you dare talk about Bryce Remsburg
Actually,
like
I thought it was Paul. Either way.
Don't you dare talk about Paul Turner like that.
Well, they're not treating their refs either way because Aubrey Edwards got hit with a fucking guitar.
We haven't even gotten to what happened in the next match.
Either way, MJF takes the advantage of the no DQ rule in a Fatal 4 match and throws the belt on top of Jungle Boy as Darby Allin goes to hit a coffin drop. Sammy Guevara was out cold.
That the downfall of Darby Allin today. He really wanted to hit that coffin drop.
I feel like it's perfect for Tony Hawk Pro Skater character that he is.
It is.
Because when I used to play SmackDown on PlayStation, I had to get it. You had to hit L1 and hit the finisher. How are you going to be The Rock and not hit the people's elbow? How are you going to be Stone Cold and not hit the stunner? How are you going to be Taker and not hit... at that point, it was the last ride, which I guess I thought was cool back then, but looking back, nobody really liked it.
Any of those moves are cooler than the coffin drop.
I mean, the coffin drop's original. I'll give it to him. I'm not a big fan of it, but it's original. But he did. He had such a hard on to get that. He did. To get that.
It was his downfall.
It really was. It really was.
I really think he could have won it if he wasn't so damn hellbent. Because there were multiple times he could have pinned somebody, and he just didn't.
Moment, I yelled why are you doing the coffin drop?
He wanted the damn coffin drop.
You've got him on the ground. So MJF gets the win, and I don't think it wouldn't have been wrong no matter who you would have done to win this match. But I really do think, and even though I picked Darby in my predictions, I really do think they picked the right person.
They did.
I do think that they picked the right person.
I'm hoping we get a turn from Jungle Boy. I hope this is Jack Perry. He's pissed. There was a face moment where he had MJF's belt and he could have used it on Darby and
threw it.
Typical. Nope, I don't need this.
And that's what screwed him in the end.
And that's what screwed him. Yep.
Was that opened up the spot for MJF to at some point
to put
pull
the
his
belt
ring out? And
yep.
It was so good.
And that's when he put the belt out, and that's when Darby did the coffin
Yep.
drop. So it set up the whole thing that both of them screwed themselves in that
by
situation.
not doing everything they can do. And,
exactly.
And again, you can argue it whether it was a dirty win or a clean win, but MJF
it's not dirty.
Break
There's no
any
eliminations.
Rules. There's no DQs. There's no much worse got used in the match. So MJF won clean
for once.
I mean,
he didn't have to hide it this time.
It was a great match. I loved it, and I'm excited to see where the storyline goes from here.
I love that afterwards, MJF was asked, why didn't you go as the last match, the actual main event?
Right.
And he said, well, I wouldn't want to roll around in John Moxley's blood.
Which, I mean...
Perfect justification.
Yeah, might as well just roll right into it.
Listen, we'll talk about it all day. I still don't think they did right. They shouldn't have ended with that.
With what?
I really think MJF and the Four Pillar match should have been the main event.
Oh, 100%.
I don't think they did the right thing having this match be the last match. Now, I think this match was great, and I'm excited to talk to you about it. But
the ending. I
don't think they did that right.
The ending of the BCC and the Elite could have only happened at the end of the show.
It was a Bloodline moment where you had to have it happen.
You had to have it in there. It wouldn't have been good storytelling.
Yep.
I'm a big advocate if you have your title is your number one item in your company, if it's your coveted prize, if it is what everybody needs to be fighting for. If
it
that's
should be the last thing on the card.
That should be the most important thing. It should be not the triple main events. It should be the main event.
Yeah, look at the pay-per-view yesterday. It opened up the match. It opened up the pay-per-view.
And to put a grudge match at the end of a pay-per-view over, and it's a non-title match, over your coveted prize, I don't like it. It might just be me. I might be the minority in that, but I just don't like it. That being said, this was one of the most exciting matches of the night. I
mean, it was anarchy. It was exactly what they told you it was going to be.
Going into this, it was exactly what I thought it would be.
I made
much
the joke.
Much different than the Four Pillars match, which surprised the hell out of me.
I made the joke just as last year that they should just keep playing Wild Things forever. I apologize for that.
Yeah,
they played that with
Corey Taylor, Dollar General.
Somebody said, Mom, I want Slipknot, and
Slipknot.
they said,
she said, we have Slipknot.
We have Slipknot at home, and it was whatever that was.
I mean, props to the guys. Props to the four of them. They played the song as well as it needed to be played. They didn't have they didn't try to make all these crazy alterations to it. They just played it as straightforward as possible.
Yep, it would end. They'd start it back up.
It kind of set the mood for a little bit.
It was like being at a bar.
But I'm not gonna lie, I was so happy when they ended up super kicking him and
the Young Bucks did. Well, the singer pulled out his shirt. He's wearing a shirt.
BCC, which you knew that was going to be. I mean, fuck, he's sitting there playing Mox's song. I mean, what else did you expect?
Yeah, so the Young Bucks super kicked him. But, of course, it started off, and I think Mark did a great job of tweeting exactly how we all felt, which if you haven't followed us on Twitter.
CAW Wrestling Pod on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I don't know why you're going to follow me on YouTube. I don't really post anything on it, but go ahead.
Mark said it best when he said, why is the music still playing? Has the match started?
Yeah, it was at that point because they didn't even make it to the ring. The Young Bucks ended up running out of the ring.
Anything.
I don't know if the bell rang, and they just started fighting, which I at this point... Who
gives a shit?
In an Anarchy in the Arena, do you need a bell to ring?
No.
It's not whoever's
laid eyes
not
on each other.
getting up in the end's the one that loses. I mean, I don't think you even need the 1, 2, 3 to figure this one out. This one could have just been a street fight.
Yeah, and the poor camera guys, it was just back and forth, and they missed a couple spots.
AEW's got some issues. I don't know if they need Kevin Dunn in their office.
No.
Man, they are missing a couple of pivotal spots.
Back. If they start piping in booze like they tried to do with LA Knight the other day, I am out.
Poor LA Knight. They need to do more with them.
That was trash. But
they've been missing some spots. They had Mox dropped Kenny Omega into a casino chip covered in barbed wire
and glass bottles.
There was glass bottles. There was tack. Okay. We got to go back with Matt Jackson gets knocked out and he's left dead in a truck. They're beating the hell out of Nick. They're doing all this stuff. Matt limps back and hits
Hangman
Mox.
looks awful.
Yeah, hit Mox with an exploding super kick. He hits him in the face and sparks a bigger explosion than the barbed wire death match between Kenny Omega and Mox. and it was
sick.
It
I
caught
loved
me
it.
so off guard. I was like a 5-year-old kid watching a hardcore match. I was
couldn't have predicted
giggling.
it, you know?
No, had no idea. It was so good.
Because they had it playing off as he's in the back of the pickup truck dying. So really, you could tell he was just getting rigged up for some
He got
explosives.
destroyed by Cesaro.
Loved it. Well, they ended up ripping his shoe off in retaliation, and then
throwing
Mox
it.
brought out, the bag
That
with
shoe was probably
a
worth
million
more than my
tacks.
entire paycheck.
Yeah, that Nike. He brought out the bag with 1 million tacks, and
I think it had some glass in it too.
made
Didn't it?
Matt pay for that.
No, it didn't have glass. That was the sign.
That was the casino chip.
They just atomic drop Matt, and if you don't know what that is, that's when you drop somebody on their feet and like fuck up their knees. Whole left foot that's completely bare, like not even a sock, come all the way down on the entire pile of tacks.
Yeah,
it was brutal. There was blood. There's a lot less blood than I had expected. There was a fork. There was. But the end got me. We had all of a sudden.
Don Callis has been on the commentary team, so I was really hoping he was going to get.
I'm never that guy.
Yeah.
But with a podcast and I have physical proof, I'm gonna say it. I fucking called this. I was only part. There was a little bit part didn't come true, but I feel like that's just waiting on down the road. Don Callis has been grooming Takeshita. He's been trying to get him, and lo and fucking behold, he shows up. Don Callis tries to interrupt the match, and Takeshita runs in with his cute little red hat and his little thing over his face. But you couldn't deny those eyes and that hair.
You got it.
Takeshita is BCC. Oh, my God.
Unfortunately, Don Callis did not get that receipt that Kenny Omega owes him just
I'm
quite
sure. I was
yet.
really hoping we were going to see Don Callis get hit by the one-winged angel.
Oh, I really was hoping too, because Kenny was kind of looking at the tax like...
Oh, yeah.
Don's going into these tacks.
I think it's coming. It's coming. This story's not over. And actually, I believe you pointed out, we have a clip of Kenny Omega after the match.
That is
even
correct.
Stating that it's not over. Let me see if
we'll let Kenny tell you.
I might not be the most popular guy backstage, but there's a world in AEW, and I've still got at least one or two really good friends that can even up the odds. You guys stay tuned. We have nothing. This is not over.
So 1 or 2 maybe friends that aren't in AEW.
Help me even the odds. I mean,
They're killing me with
couldn't
this.
imagine who.
They are absolutely killing me. Like the whole ending, the whole time, I'm like, you guys are killing me. You guys are killing me. Where the hell is
somebody
Coda?
from Bullet Club Gold?
Yeah, I mean, Okada?
Maybe a lover of some sort?
Well, yeah, I mean, I just said that too, but they're killing me. They're killing me. They're WWE-ing me. They're making me wait. They're making every week. They're like, here it is. Nope. Here it is.
Yeah,
nope. They don't want you to
WWE's
think that it's going to happen, you know?
WWE's got a tried and true formula, and it's working. And I can't
Of
blame
course.
Tony Khan for wanting to do
They've
that
gone
same
a little
thing.
bit too
And I
long,
think,
but
we also have Forbidden Doors coming up. So, I mean, fuck,
we've
anything
got
could happen.
All In, All Out, Forbidden Door,
going
and
in,
Fight
out, in the
Forever
door.
being dropped within like a month.
I think I'm
maybe 6
pre-ordering.
weeks.
I think I'm pre-ordering Fight Forever tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever like really looked into the gameplay,
footage is
anything
amazing.
like that. Don't
Don't expect
don't look at
2K23.
Eddie Kingston, please. Just don't. We're just not gonna
Eddie,
talk
my boy.
about.
What'd you do to my boy?
You know what? He said he quit, so they quit on him.
They quit.
Okay?
This is the bad.
So overall, for me, I mean, I think it was a win. I think there was a lot of positive things about this, a lot of stories that continue that needed to continue, championships that obviously were deserved, championships that, interesting. We'll have to see what happens with the women's, championship there.
Right.
I enjoyed it. It was probably my least favorite AEW pay-per-view in 2 years. It wasn't my favorite. There were really good points. Yeah, there were really good points about it, but I think it fell a little bit flat. I think both pay-per-views this weekend fell a little bit flat for me, unfortunately.
I was kind of half and half on this one. The ones that I liked, I really liked. The ones that I didn't like, I really didn't like.
Right.
I think that the women's division needs something, and I don't know if it's just an entirely different storyline, if it is different individuals. The talent is there. They have the talent. They have the people that can do the moves, that can do the matches, that can perform. I just don't know they're missing something.
Yeah, there's not a lot of cohesiveness. There's not enough storyline outside of the just one storyline that they have.
Jade Cargill's been the only like consistent one, and even then, it's like it'll go through lulls. It'll go through 5 matches where you've got just boring like every day. Cool, she's jobbing out,
and then
once
bring
a
up
week,
the jobbers, right?
You know, and then you have 2-3 matches that it really feels like it means something.
And you've got Madison Rayne working there, so for a while it was just really interesting, and now all of a sudden it's just kind of stale. So I feel like they're throwing all their marbles into that one storyline, and it's just falling flat for me week after week.
If I had to give it a rating, I'd have to do 3.5 cups.
Actually, that's exactly what I was thinking too, which I think is what we rated the one last night as well.
Yeah, it's not much better, not much worse. Like I said, same
it wasn't
thing as
bad.
yesterday.
It wasn't
the
great.
Things I loved. The things I didn't like, I had no interest in, and I had a hard time even watching it. Overall, not bad. Hopefully, we'll see some more development from the women's. And then, I don't know, we've got a couple of good things. I don't think we're done with the 4 Pillars match. We're obviously not done with the Elite versus BCC.
Of course.
They're obviously going to be a thing moving on, although I really have a weird feeling we're going to be seeing less of the Elite as a unit going forward. It just has this vibe that maybe it's time to split them up to where Young Bucks are going back on their duos. Kenny's on his singles, and or maybe
you mean
Kenny
his
and
duos?
Yeah. You know, I just and maybe
God, I'm
put
still
a
trying to hold out. I'm trying here.
Yeah. So,
believe it or not, this is our 50th episode.
I know we haven't said that one time.
Really want to thank you all if you've listened this far. We appreciate you for joining us in this adventure that we call wrestling.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us here with Coffee and Wrestling. We really we're wary about starting this podcast, but boy, I'm glad we did it, and thank you for everybody who's ever interacted with us, and we're not done yet. We're just getting started, but I think that's going to do it. We're already coming up on an hour and a half, and I still have editing, and this is going to come out in a couple hours.
Yeah. So. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Again, we are at CAW Wrestling Pod. My personal Twitter is at A Bacon Party, and Mark is at Gunk Dudley.
We tweet all the time between Monday Night Raw, Wednesday Night Dynamite, Friday Night SmackDown, Friday Night Rampage, soon to be AEW Collision, sometimes ROH, sometimes NJPW, maybe an Impact here or there. Who knows? I've now subscribed
to... What is it, Dominion next week?
Yeah, Dominion's next week for NJPW. I've just subscribed to...
DDT Pro.
DDT Pro, which
Go
also
Chris
comes
Brooks.
with Stardom. Chris Brooks, fucking king of DDT.
Yeah.
I'm currently, his t-shirt is in the shopping cart ready to buy. Go buy AEW's Fight Forever. Join us all week for more wrestling. Every Monday, start your week with a fresh cup of coffee and wrestling, a wrestling podcast. My name is Mark. My lovely wife, Jamie. Thank you so much for joining us. Good fight. Good night.